first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Hey guys, it's us again here with another amazing episode of Health or High Water. I'm one of your co-hosts, Trip, with my buddy here.
It's us again.
It's us again.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
We're getting up there in the episodes. We're almost to number 30, and we got to talk about a topic that's almost cheesy to talk about normally, right? And we're gonna talk about happiness. I'd like to start this with a little bit of I don't know if this story is real about John Lennon, but evidently when he was 5 years old, his teacher asked him what he wanted to be, and he said happy. And his teacher said, you don't understand the question, and he says, you don't understand the answer. I don't know if that was real or not, but...
But you saw it on a meme?
Probably.
This is the best start to any episode I've ever heard. We're going to talk about something that's cheesy, happiness. This is so funny.
No, oh, shoot. So, Brett, what's happiness to you?
Being happy.
I guess we can end the episode.
That's it.
You're
just happy. You just be happy, right?
Just choose, man.
You just choose to be happy.
Well, yeah. So, what's happiness to you, really? Is it a mental state? Is it physical activity?
It's balancing. It's balancing everything that your body needs physiologically, spiritually, mentally, and finding the things that discovering for yourself what is required to achieve that status of gratitude and being grateful for what you have, and also being hopeful for the future and having a goal to shoot for. So it's just figuring out individually, what are the things you require personally. And then there's ones that are similar across the board for all humans, like connection, feeling value, feeling appreciated. Those are all just human traits that we all need.
I hear you saying a ton of times the word purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I see you putting it out there a lot, and I do feel like there's something to that for sure. If you don't have some kind of purpose, then you're just going to be lost on track. So on that, I think happiness comes through purpose also. It's like I feel fulfilled. I feel full. So what is purpose to you in that realm of happiness, and how did you find purpose?
Well, so I think the people who have chronic ill, it's funny because Dr. Doringer, by the way, shout out to him if he's following this episode too. Shout out to him for such an amazing podcast. Like, what an knowledgeable guy, incredibly knowledgeable. One of the most fascinating conversations I've been a part of. And just a super cool dude, also laid back and chill and funny and social. So tying back into your question was purpose. So he talked a lot about chronic illness, and anybody who's dealt with addiction, severe addiction or chronic illness, or has been on the precipice of giving up, or has seen the depths of hell and has lived a life of sorrow and pain, has had the opportunity to persevere to find their path and they're immediately forced with finding their purpose. It's a little bit of a distraction for us in life, but once you find your purpose, then the pain that you go through almost seems like you can go through that, right? You can go through that. It's because your mission is bigger, because then you're seeing the value in your life as like, hey, what do I give back? So whether I'm going through horrendous times in my life or insane chronic illness, which you and I have seen people who've come in here with back fusions that are out of a 9 out of a 10 pain scale on a daily basis, and they're searching for meaning in their life, and they're dying to find purpose. And once you find that purpose, it brings like meaning to your life through the pain, and that pain becomes a superpower in a sense.
Yeah, I love it, using your pain to almost perspective balance. And I was actually thinking that same thing while you were going that, just in a different perspective. It's like I don't feel like I would appreciate as much as I do without pain. And we had a little bit of episode about pain and trying to find happiness through that. It's like, listen, you've been to the bottom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You've been to the bottom, and so try to enjoy the top a little bit more. And as you get older, that top kind of gets like a little bit smaller,
Mm-hmm.
because you get more balanced. You start to learn how to be more balanced, hopefully, as you get older.
Yeah. You stay connected to the people who, that's the journey of life, is between your ears, right? It's not where, but stay connected. The people, and I notice these people when I meet them along my path of life, is I notice these people who are, we'll just call them real people. Like you're one of them. Dr. Doringer, there's a lot out there. The people who have been through stuff and who have found their mission, their passion, and are living it, and are like, okay, like I have a mission. Those are the people that like we bond together and we connect on a deeper level. And those are the relationships that give me purpose and go, okay, we're not alone. There are other people out there. So, and I know you're joking when you were saying like happiness is a cheesy topic, and maybe it is to some people who haven't been through it. But if you've been through it, happiness is not a cheesy topic. Happiness is like, man, how do I just enjoy my life? Like, how do I wake up and be like, how do I figure out a way to find happiness so that I can give it to other people?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I meant it more like a cheesiness, like it's in children's books about happy and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
usually.
yeah.
But when you tend to be an adult, it turns to a sad subject. You know what I mean?
Happiness does?
For a lot of people, because so many people are sad, man.
Yeah, but there's hope.
Oh, there's always hope, and I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't meaning that, but
Yeah.
it's almost like a taboo topic nowadays.
I would say nobody talks about it is the funny thing. That's what I would say, is that nobody talks about it. Like, hey, how do I be happy? How do I, like, the science of happiness? Because is science of happiness? You're absolutely right. It can be in happiness. And there's a lot of discussions about perspective and how to change your perspective. What are the things that change your perspective? And then ultimately, let's be honest, being happy is everybody's goal, right? Like when we all want to, yeah. So it's a great topic to discuss and talk about and figure out what are the things that are required to make me happy, both individually that I've decided upon, and then also just as a human being, what are the commonalities between you and I? What do we need? Food, shelter, water, etc.
Right, and I'm kind of like playing this out in my head, achieving happiness, right? Mm-hmm. And you use the word passion, purpose, and happiness. Mm-hmm. I think it starts with your passion, and you find purpose in that passion, and then the happiness comes after.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Right? I think there's a natural progression there. So for people that are listening, what would be a great way for them to start getting on this path, to find true happiness?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have to survive somehow. So we all have to find a way to make a living, and not everybody is in a position or blessed or to be doing something that is their complete mission, and that's fine, right? It's not possible for everybody to be living their occupation as their mission. It's just, yeah, we like that would be great to have that, but not everybody can get there. So so you're spending a lot of your time during the day. Maybe you're not doing exactly what you love to be doing. So where do you start? Is, I guess, number one, find out what happiness is to you, right? And that starts with you. You preach journaling. You're the journaling guru as far as as much as you tout it and the importance of it. And that goes down to, your daily affirmations. You always are the one who shows me hey, here's my grateful journal. Here's my hopeful journal. Here's my aspirations. That's the first place I think to start, is to figure out, what do I really want? The old Mark Twain, the two greatest days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. And that's huge. So,
wow.
Yeah. So okay, I'm born. Great. I'm here. A lot of pain. And number two, why am I here? And that's the human element of discovering suffering. Why are we suffering? Because life is painful. Friends, chronic pain, our bodies decay over time. We have to find meaning to this journey on earth somehow. And that meaning isn't just, hey, we're going to a job for 8 hours a day. There has to be some sort of bit greater meaning. And so I think it starts with journaling and starts with finding ways to discover what your purpose is on this earth.
I agree 100%, and I'm related to Mark Twain.
Are you really?
Yeah, my mom's side.
What?
Yeah.
How? That's insane.
Yeah, I'll bring up the family tree.
Oh gosh, okay, that'd be insane. Holy.
I was like, why do I suck at English so bad when I was related to him? Yes, weird side note. Sorry, guys. That's interesting though. Like, yeah. So writing it. So I haven't found purpose till I really met you. In what we're doing and trying to change the entire perspective of wellness is a daunting task. I mean, us making a never before program with the genetics and the blood work, and then now we have that other thing happening next week. That's really big for us. So this took a lot of hard work, a lot of time. Fruitions are starting to pay off a little bit, like, and we can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
What got you through and kept you happy the entire process, even though training is your favorite thing?
Yeah.
It's what you wanted to do from the beginning, and the business part was, sucked.
Yeah.
How did you stay happy and kept that purpose going through all that?
Dude, so I saw a quote from Steve. It was so funny. I'm not like a Steve Jobs guru, right? Like, oh, Steve Jobs this, but I saw a video from Steve Jobs last week, and he said the best managers in the workplace, the best managers do not want to be managers. They never wanted to be managers. They only took that role because they knew that they were the only ones who could do a job as good as they could. I love training. I would prefer, like, Dr. Eric was here, and hey, client time is his favorite. That's me. Client time, working on the cases. Hey, you've been in back pain for 10 years, like, or your shoulder hasn't fixed for 4. Let me fix it. Like, I'll show you. That's what I love. But along the way, I figured out, I'm like, I'm always going to work for somebody else. I'm always going to be not in charge of my destiny. And I knew how to manage, and I was like, I have to do it. So there have been times where I'm not happy as far as not getting enough client time, and there are times like that. But I know that mission is going to be greater because I see it at the end of the road. I see the many trainers all getting to practice their craft. I see the vision, and so that's why I took that risk. And for me, that's how I achieve my happiness, is just like the rationalization of like, oh, okay, the juice is going to be worth the squeeze. I'm trading it. I'm trading momentary not lack of happiness, but momentary, pain and struggle for that goal at the end of the road.
That's really well said, man. Really well said. And yeah, that was there's a few hard months there it's still hard.
Yeah.
Still hard, and it's a little bit crazy perspectively. We just had grand opening last week, and this podcast is coming up to episode 30. There's a lot to look back on already. And what Brett and I are starting to do every Friday is we do recap Fridays, and we do 3 things each that we're really proud of that we did this week, and then 3 things that we want to work on the next week. Right, and that way we're trying to stay in perspective of things, and I'm such an a-hole about writing things down and journaling. It's like we write it down too, we write it down and we try to accomplish it next week. I think that there's something to writing down. It's worked for thousands of years of writing, even Stone. So if you guys want to start somewhere, like Brett said, like start with journaling. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Maybe just write 3 things you're grateful for that morning. Well,
getting to know yourself is the most important relationship you can have in your entire life, is getting to know who you are. And some people have an easier job than others doing that, right? But it's all something we have to do, is we have to get to know ourselves, get to know what we're not good at, identify what we're really good at, and then hone the skills of what we're really good at, and then farm out the things we're not good at. We don't have to spend 1,000 years focusing on, I'm not good at this. Well, maybe it's not your gift. Maybe, you're grinding your whole life at something that you're not good at. Oh, I got to work on my weaknesses. Well, you have gifts too, right? So there's a balance of, do I work on my weaknesses, or do I hone and sharpen my talents and then find a way to give my talents back?
That's awesome. Dude, you're dropping some bombs today. Some really good stuff, man. And what I wanted to say is too, is like, all right, so what about the people that can't be honest with themselves? Right? The people that have a hard time talking to themselves, and they might be hearing this like, well, I'm just doing everything fine, and their whole world's crashing around them.
You mean addicts?
I was gonna, yeah. I mean, for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in every form, it doesn't have to be drug. Addicts can be addicted. It's a pathological relationship to a life-altering experience or a mind-altering experience with life-damaging consequences. So any experience that's mind-altering that has life-damaging consequences is an addiction. Doesn't matter if it's food. Doesn't matter if it's eating sand. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If it's a mind-altering experience and has life-damaging consequences, it's an addictive behavior. And those people lie to themselves. That's the behavior, and that's how it's a coping mechanism. It's the cognitive dissonance, and that cognitive dissonance with addicts grows the more they live in their addiction grows. And so they become further and further separated from their body and their mind. And so healing an addict is bringing their mind back with their body. And sometimes, and the further away they get, the longer the journey is back to center.
Wow. Again, keep on leaving me without questions because I'm like so enthralled with what you're saying. It's like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's. So
they lie to themselves. So, honestly, it comes down to the will to live. So it comes down to that individual. No friend can help you. Nobody can help you. You are the one that helps yourself. And if you pull strength from God or you pull strength from your higher power, kudos to you, right? If you don't have a higher power and you find the will within yourself to decide you want to live and find your purpose, then you do it.
Yeah, it always comes down to you. I use this all the time. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
And you can also create your environment. You can create who you want to hang out with.
You're in control. And that's one thing you and I we're sticklers on. It's like, hey, when we're doing these consults and stuff, it's like, hey, like, what's your environment like? You know, that's in one of the intake forms. Like, listen, like, are you hanging around in a bar? Are you doing the wrong things? Are you hanging around the wrong crowd? Yeah. You know, if you're not around people that want to see you grow, you're in the wrong crowd. Yeah. And that's also going to dictate with happiness too. Mm-hmm. Right? You're gonna have a false sense of happiness. Mm-hmm. Because you're doing the wrong things, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Just when people just accidentally get into the wrong crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. The happiness is a pattern of thinking. It's a perspective, and it always ends. It's like a puzzle in your brain, and your brain is sending the signals through the, coded by like the myelin sheathing, right? And it's firing off, and it should always come back to gratitude, right? Always finding a way to be grateful. And hopeful, and those are the thought practices. So the addictive behaviors are also patterns of behavior and patterns of thought. So your brain is wired to have particular patterns of thought. So being an addict is a state of mind, and you can turn it on and off, and that on and off switch is your willpower. That's a touchy subject too to get into. The willpower is a very deep subject too.
Yeah. Well, I do agree. Happiness is a perspective. You know, there's many times in this process I've gone to bed like a little hungry, but I wake up excited. I'm excited to come to work. You know, because what we're doing is real, and it's tangible, and we could see the impact that this can make, and that's what kept me going. And you know, my passion is genetics and science and where this thing is going, and we can actually be predisposed to have lower happiness than someone else. Optimism. We could have high predispositions for fear and anxiety.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so you know, is there any maybe supplements or anything like that you would recommend for someone that maybe is predisposed for lack of happiness? Lack of happiness? To be honest, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're opening up a big question there, and that's a really interesting thing to think about. There's a lot of ways that the medical industry would approach that subject, right? Like, hey, I'm not happy. How do I become happy? From me, it's not and this is my perspective, right? I'm not the supplement guy on that. I'm not the medication guy on that. My first things are lifestyle. My first things are routine. Are you practicing gratitude? Like, who are the people you're surrounding yourself with? Like, have you discovered your purpose? Are you finding a way to play music? I don't care if you rhythmic or not. There's something you can do musically. Music is the pattern of all life, whether it's listening to music, whatever it is. So finding that's my expertise. I don't know. That'd be a question back to you. Like, what, you know?
Well, I was kind of like asking out loud because I was thinking of it too. It's like, well, what, you know, if someone really wanted to go in detail with their genetics, with that, there's variants and alleles. It's like, what the
Yeah,
the
I
heck
guess.
would I, do with that? It's like, well, I mean, check their magnesium and zinc and make sure that's okay.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't it be? And like I said, I'm when it comes to this, I mean, it'd be something to do with like, how your dopamine, your serotonin receptors are working, how all your hormones are balanced, how are they interacting with each other, how's your cortisol levels at. So your happiness would have to do with that, and we do know that your perspective immediately influences so your perspective and the way you look at your place in the world and the world in general totally changes and affects the physiology of your body. That's a huge concept.
It is because I mean because we don't preach just going to the gym, like we preach lifestyle, right? And I think that these small little things that you guys can do throughout the day, like journaling, going for a walk, reading, hiking.
Reading, big. Hiking, huge.
Reading is huge. Like reading and just education in general is really big for me. Writing is great.
Huge.
But just get out there and start moving a little bit.
Yeah, and put it down in a journal. Put some things down that you want to do, want to accomplish. It seems stupid. Oh, I'm going to read for 5 minutes a day. What's that going to do for me? Well, you're setting up these patterns. That's all it is. You're setting up these patterns of brain activity, and that's retraining your brain. Oh, I got to read. I have to use a different part of my cortex, right? Oh, okay. I'm analyzing words. I'm forming grammar. Okay, and now I'm writing. That's a different part of my brain. Now I'm developing this, and so you're creating these practices that are utilizing fuller parts of your brain. You're rewiring signals. That's literally the physiology of it.
So it's almost like an atrophy brain.
Yeah, exactly. Anything in your body that you're not utilizing becomes dormant. Whether it's muscle tissue, whether it's a part of your brain, whether it's a part of, if you stop using something, your body says, I don't need this anymore. And so it doesn't flex that muscle. Anything you want to get good at, you have to use more regularly.
Right.
That's it. That's the whole thing. So
that's the life experience, conditioning.
That's it, man.
Everything.
100%.
So as I know we're getting kind of closer to the end of the episode here, but I want to ask you maybe what about your regiment helps you out every day? Like, I don't know, getting up, making a healthy meal, reading. What's really important to your regiment every morning that makes you happy?
Well, right now it's a little crazy because of how busy the gym has been and everything that we're doing. So my regimen's a little wild right now. I golf a lot with my brother and spend time with him, and he's one of the coolest dudes ever. So I love hanging out with him and golfing and just kind of clearing my mind. My regimen, my personal training sessions are huge to me. Doing that is big. And then going to my favorite coffee shop, which you make fun of me for.
No, it's awesome. It's a
shout out to the Park Hill Hub.
Oh, dang. You guys got a shout out.
Shout out to the Park Hill Hub that I absolutely love. The coolest place ever. But
it's got a cool vibe.
That's part of my regiment is that I love is going there and turning my brain off and appreciating just sitting still for 5-10 minutes, have a cup of coffee, and then get back to work, right? Learn how to turn it on and turn it off. If you can't turn it on, if you can't turn it off, like if you're a go-getter, right? You wake up at 3 a.m. I saw your message at 4 a.m. You're texting a client. If you can't turn it off, you're going to carry the weight of that responsibility. So find ways to turn it off. That's my best advice.
He's speaking to me, guys. Straight up to me.
And myself, man.
Well, it's just, I just get so excited about our work, and I go home and I open the laptop, and the next thing you know, it's a few hours later. It's like, oh, I got to get up in a few hours.
This is So we got a gym here, and we train people, and they get in better shape, right? Physically better shape. We're doing a lot more than that. What we're doing, fitness is the vehicle to discovering who we are, to developing self-confidence. You and I have talked about this before. When you say you're going to do something, and then you accomplish that goal, what does it do for you?
It provides value to your words. It makes your words valuable. When you keep on doing that, same thing. Well, I'll do it tomorrow, and you tell it to the world. Every single time you say that, it gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And
Hey, I'm gonna quit cigarettes again. Hey, I haven't smoked a cigarette in 8 days. Hey, I haven't smoked a cigarette in 12 days. Hey, I worked out a few times this month, right? And then you fall off. What does that do to your psyche?
Oh, it kills you. It kills you because words have. There's a reason words have meanings. It's because they mean something. When you put that out in the air, they mean something. And I was not going to go down that road in my head. Nope. Topic for a different day. But we're getting closer to the end here. If you have any final last comments about happiness and how people can achieve happiness, maybe some ways to wrap the episode up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So the big thing with happiness is it's something we're all seeking. It's something I've been fascinated with for 15 years that I really dove into and figured out for myself, what do I need to do to make myself happy? And it all comes down to organizing your day, finding ways to organize your day effectively, efficiently, and then to find ways to turn it off. Turn it off, spend time with your friends and family, spend time with yourself too. And then also, like you said, to wrap this whole episode up, and the idea behind it is give your words weight by accomplishing the things you say you're going to accomplish. That will be the most important takeaway from this episode is when you say, I'm going to get fit, and you get fit, it doesn't matter. You're going to look at your body and you'll have abs, you'll have muscle, and that won't be the value that you achieve from it. The value will be, hey, I said I was going to do something and I did it. What do I want to do now? That's the biggest.
That's on. Geez, yes. Hey, guys, make sure you guys are checking out Brett's blog at www.ascendperformancetraining.com/blog. Go check out Health Profiling. It's a book on Amazon and Kindle. You should read it. It's awesome. Yeah. I'm just exhausted. This has been such a crazy few weeks.
Long couple weeks.
I'm just thinking about something I got to get done here today too. And I'm just dreading.
All this happiness talk. He's like, all right, I'm burnt out. I got stuff to do.
Yeah. Oh, the life of small business. All right, guys. Thank you guys again so much. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and sharing this. Tell everybody, please. Even a few people helps us immensely. We want to get some money going with the podcast so we can get you guys some video equipment so you can actually see our faces when we do this. We'll start doing live streams at that point, be on Patreon so we can talk at these live podcasts. So every little bit of support is helpful, so please get the word out there. Thank you guys so much. This was Health or High Water.
See ya.